My beloved child, listen closely, because this message has found you at a precise moment, not by chance and not by curiosity, but by divine alignment that cannot be delayed any longer. Archangel Michael says there is a presence very close to your heart, someone whose words feel familiar and whose energy feels trusted, yet something unspoken has been quietly unfolding behind the scenes. You may have sensed subtle shifts, pauses in conversations, or emotions that did not match the smiles you were shown, and those feelings were not imagined. A veil has been resting between what you see and what truly is, and tonight that veil begins to thin, because truth has reached the point where it must be revealed gently but clearly. Hear this carefully, for what is being uncovered is not meant to frighten you, but to free you from confusion that has weighed on your spirit longer than you realize. Archangel Michael says this person carries a sign, not written in words but shown through repeated patterns, moments of hesitation, and choices that quietly contradict what they promise. They are not entirely false, yet they are not fully transparent either, and this imbalance has created a silent tension that your soul has been absorbing. You were never meant to carry uncertainty as loyalty, and you were never meant to mistake closeness for clarity. Now pay attention, because this is where many people look away, but you are being asked to look deeper with calm strength. Archangel Michael says the significant sign connected to this person is revealed through timing, how they appear supportive when it benefits them, and distant when truth requires courage. This does not mean they wish harm, but it does mean they are protecting something unresolved within themselves, something they have not yet faced. You are feeling the effects because your spirit is sensitive to truth, and when truth is delayed, your energy feels restless without knowing why. Understand this clearly, because this message is meant to empower you, not push you away from love or connection. Archangel Michael says exposure does not always come as confrontation, sometimes it comes as awareness, where suddenly everything makes sense without a single word being spoken. You are being shown what to observe, not what to accuse, what to recognize, not what to fear. Once you see the pattern clearly, your heart will naturally know how close this person truly belongs to your future, without force or confusion. Finally, receive this with confidence and peace, for you are protected as this truth unfolds layer by layer. Archangel Michael says you will not lose what is meant for you by seeing clearly, you will only release what was never aligned to stay hidden forever. Stay grounded, stay observant, and stay open, because what is about to be revealed will bring relief, clarity, and a quiet strength that reminds you how powerful discernment truly is when guided by light. My beloved child, continue listening with an open heart, because what is unfolding now goes deeper than surface actions and spoken intentions. Archangel Michael says the closeness you share with this person has created an energetic bond, and through this bond you have been sensing emotions that do not belong to you. Moments of unexplained heaviness, sudden doubt, or emotional silence are not weaknesses in you, they are signals revealing that this connection has been uneven. The truth has been pressing gently against your awareness, waiting for the right moment to be acknowledged without resistance. Now understand this carefully, because clarity is arriving in layers, not all at once. Archangel Michael says this person is carrying an inner conflict they have chosen not to voice, and instead of expressing it, they have allowed it to influence how they show up for you. Their actions shift when accountability appears, and their energy changes when sincerity is required. This inconsistency is the sign you were meant to notice, not to judge them, but to protect your own emotional balance. Stay present with this message, because this is where your power begins to rise. Archangel Michael says you have been giving understanding where honesty was needed, and patience where transparency was required. Your kindness has been genuine, but kindness without boundaries slowly turns into self-neglect. You are not meant to overextend your heart to maintain harmony, especially when harmony is being maintained at the cost of your inner peace. Listen closely now, because this part is crucial. Archangel Michael says exposure does not mean sudden separation, it means conscious awareness. Once you see clearly, the dynamic must change naturally, either through deeper honesty or through emotional distance that restores balance. You will not need to force decisions, because truth has a way of restructuring relationships on its own when it is finally acknowledged. Receive this final insight with calm strength, because you are not losing control, you are reclaiming it. Archangel Michael says you were never meant to question your intuition for the comfort of another. As this revelation settles within you, clarity will replace confusion, peace will replace restlessness, and you will feel lighter knowing that seeing the truth is the first step toward emotional freedom and alignment. My beloved child, remain still within yourself as this message continues, because what is being revealed now explains why your heart has felt alert even during moments of calm. Archangel Michael says this person has been standing close to you while quietly carrying intentions that are unfinished, unspoken, and unresolved. They care in their own way, yet their care is divided, and division always leaves traces that a sensitive soul like yours can feel without proof or explanation. Take this in gently, because this is not about blame, it is about awareness. Archangel Michael says the significant sign around this person shows itself through selective openness, how they share only what feels safe for them while keeping the rest carefully guarded. You may notice how conversations shift when depth appears, or how reassurance replaces truth when clarity is requested. These moments were not random, they were reflections of an inner hesitation they have not yet overcome. Stay focused here, because this is where understanding transforms into strength. Archangel Michael says you were meant to see this not to harden your heart, but to stop doubting your inner voice. You sensed the imbalance long before words could explain it, and you tried to reason it away out of loyalty and emotional connection. Now the light is simply confirming what your spirit already recognized in silence. Let this settle without urgency, because nothing needs to be forced. Archangel Michael says once truth is seen, your energy will naturally adjust, and the connection will respond accordingly. Either honesty will rise to meet you, or distance will form to protect you, and both outcomes serve your growth. You are not responsible for fixing what someone else is unwilling to face. Hold this final awareness with peace, because you are supported through this unfolding. Archangel Michael says clarity is arriving not to take something away, but to return your emotional balance and inner confidence. As you move forward with open eyes and a steady heart, you will feel lighter, calmer, and more aligned, knowing that seeing clearly is an act of self-respect and quiet power. My beloved child, stay attentive as this message flows forward, because what you are receiving now connects the final pieces you have been quietly holding. Archangel Michael says this person's closeness was never accidental, yet their presence has served more as a mirror than a foundation. Through them, you were meant to recognize how deeply you value sincerity, stability, and emotional truth, even when it is uncomfortable. Their nearness has revealed your own depth, not their certainty. Absorb this calmly, because this understanding is meant to ground you. Archangel Michael says the significant sign you were shown is not dramatic or loud, it is subtle and repetitive, showing up in cycles that leave you questioning and then reassuring yourself. This pattern was allowed so you could learn discernment without losing compassion. You were never meant to confront, chase explanations, or demand clarity, because clarity was meant to arrive within you first. Remain steady now, because your awareness has shifted. Archangel Michael says once you stop filling in the gaps with hope alone, you will notice how much energy you were investing to keep things emotionally balanced. That effort was never meant to be one-sided. You are beginning to understand that true closeness feels steady, not uncertain, and supportive, not draining, even in silence. Let this truth anchor gently, because it brings quiet authority to your choices. Archangel Michael says you no longer need signs to prove what you already feel clearly. Your intuition has matured, your heart has strengthened, and your ability to sense alignment has sharpened through experience. From this point forward, you will respond rather than react, observe rather than assume, and trust yourself without guilt. Receive this closing message with confidence and peace. Archangel Michael says nothing revealed here diminishes you, it elevates you. As you move ahead with calm awareness, you will naturally attract connections that match your honesty and emotional presence. What remains will feel lighter, clearer, and steady, reminding you that truth, once seen, always leads you back to your own power. My beloved child, remain open as this message carries you a little further, because the awareness forming inside you is now settling into wisdom. Archangel Michael says this situation was never meant to rush you into decisions, but to slow you into self-recognition. You were placed close to this person so you could learn the difference between emotional familiarity and emotional alignment. One feels comfortable, the other feels calm, and your spirit is now learning to tell them apart. Take this in with steadiness, because this realization restores balance. Archangel Michael says the sign you noticed was not meant to expose them publicly, but to awaken you privately. When someone stands close yet remains guarded, your energy begins to compensate without realizing it. You adjusted, softened, waited, and understood more than was asked of you, and that quiet adjustment is what your soul is now releasing. Stay grounded here, because this is where peace replaces tension. Archangel Michael says you are no longer meant to interpret silence, decode mixed signals, or carry emotional weight that is not yours. Awareness has shifted the dynamic already, even if nothing has been spoken aloud. Once truth is seen, the heart stops negotiating with confusion and begins honoring clarity. Allow this understanding to settle gently, because it strengthens your boundaries without hardening your heart. Archangel Michael says you will move forward with grace, not distance driven by resentment, but space guided by self-respect. You will notice how your energy feels lighter when you stop overgiving, and how clarity feels natural when you stop explaining your worth. Receive this final continuation with quiet confidence. Archangel Michael says you are stepping into a season where connections reflect your honesty and emotional presence. What aligns will feel steady and mutual, and what does not will fade without struggle. Trust this unfolding, because clarity has already done its work, and peace is now returning to its rightful place within you. My beloved child, stay with this moment as the message completes its circle, because what you are receiving now brings gentle closure to what has been unfolding. Archangel Michael says you have reached the point where understanding no longer needs to arrive through signs or silence, but through inner certainty. The questions that once lingered in your heart are losing their hold, not because answers were forced, but because clarity has matured within you. Let this truth settle softly, because it confirms your growth. Archangel Michael says the person who stood close to you was never meant to walk the entire path beside you, only to walk far enough for you to recognize your own emotional strength. Their hesitation, their guarded nature, and their inconsistency were lessons, not punishments. Through this, you learn to listen to your intuition without dismissing it for the comfort of familiarity. Remain calm as this realization anchors itself. Archangel Michael says you are no longer waiting for validation, explanation, or emotional reassurance from this connection. Your awareness has shifted from seeking certainty outside yourself to trusting the clarity already forming within. This shift changes everything, because once you trust yourself, confusion loses its power. Hold this understanding with grace, because it does not ask you to reject anyone, only to honor yourself. Archangel Michael says your heart remains open, but your discernment is now awake. You will offer presence where there is honesty, and you will release attachment where there is imbalance, without guilt or struggle. Receive this closing message with peace and confidence. Archangel Michael says what has been exposed was never meant to harm you, only to guide you back to alignment. As you move forward, your path feels lighter, your heart steadier, and your spirit clearer, knowing that truth, once seen, always leads you toward calm, strength, and self-respect. My beloved child, remain present as this message extends a little further, because what settles now becomes a lasting foundation within you. Archangel Michael says you are no longer standing at the edge of uncertainty, you have stepped into quiet knowing. The emotional noise that once surrounded this connection is fading, replaced by a calm awareness that does not need explanation or approval. This calm is your confirmation that you are aligned with truth. Receive this gently, because it reshapes how you move forward. Archangel Michael says you will notice how your reactions soften and your expectations become clearer. You are no longer anticipating shifts in someone else's behavior, because your focus has returned to your own emotional steadiness. When attention returns to self-respect, imbalance naturally loses its influence. Stay centered here, because this is the shift that protects your energy. Archangel Michael says you are learning that closeness should feel secure, not uncertain, and connection should feel mutual, not heavy. This understanding did not come from distance, it came from awareness. You can now remain compassionate without absorbing what does not belong to you. Allow this awareness to guide your steps quietly. Archangel Michael says you will speak less from the need to be understood and act more from inner clarity. Your boundaries will feel natural, not defensive, and your presence will feel grounded, not strained. This is how emotional maturity reveals itself, without announcement or conflict. Receive this continuation with deep peace. Archangel Michael says what unfolds next in your life will reflect the clarity you now carry. Connections will align with your honesty, interactions will feel balanced, and your heart will recognize peace as its new standard. Trust this progression, because you are moving forward with insight, strength, and a calm confidence that no longer wavers. My beloved child, stay with this message as it flows into its final depth, because what is being sealed now is not information, but inner authority. Archangel Michael says you have crossed from awareness into embodiment, where truth is no longer something you seek, but something you live through your choices and presence. The closeness that once stirred uncertainty no longer has power over your emotional center, because you are rooted in clarity. Let this settle quietly, because this is strength without force. Archangel Michael says you are no longer available for dynamics that require you to shrink, wait, or overextend to feel connected. You will notice how peace becomes your guide, and anything that disrupts it stands out clearly without effort. This discernment is not harsh, it is precise, and it protects what matters most within you. Remain steady here, because your energy has shifted. Archangel Michael says you are now responding from self-trust rather than emotional habit. You will not be drawn into patterns that once felt familiar but draining. Instead, you will naturally gravitate toward interactions that feel open, consistent, and grounding. This is how alignment confirms itself, through ease rather than intensity. Allow this understanding to anchor your future steps. Archangel Michael says you will no longer mistake emotional closeness for emotional safety. Your heart remains generous, yet your boundaries are clear. You will offer space where there is respect and withdraw gently where there is imbalance, without inner conflict or doubt. Receive this closing continuation with calm certainty. Archangel Michael says what was revealed has already fulfilled its purpose. You are moving forward lighter, wiser, and more centered, guided by clarity that does not fade. Trust this state, because from here on, your path unfolds with stability, peace, and a quiet confidence that stays with you. My beloved child, remain with this presence as the message completes its gentle unfolding, because what you are integrating now becomes part of how you live, not just what you understand. Archangel Michael says the season of emotional uncertainty has quietly closed, even if nothing outwardly dramatic has occurred. Closure does not always announce itself, sometimes it arrives as a deep breath you did not realize you were holding, and suddenly the heart feels steady again. Accept this calmly, because this steadiness is earned. Archangel Michael says you have learned to recognize when connection flows naturally and when it requires effort that slowly exhausts the soul. This awareness has refined your discernment, allowing you to remain kind without becoming emotionally overextended. You no longer confuse patience with obligation, or closeness with responsibility for another's inner state. Stay anchored in this understanding, because it reshapes your relationships moving forward. Archangel Michael says you will notice how your presence feels clearer and your words feel lighter. You are not withholding, you are simply no longer compensating. When you stand in balance, those who align will feel comfortable, and those who relied on imbalance will naturally drift without resistance. Let this realization settle deeply, because it strengthens your inner compass. Archangel Michael says you now recognize peace as a signal of alignment, not boredom, and clarity as a sign of connection, not distance. This shift allows you to move forward without replaying the past or questioning your instincts. You trust what feels steady because steadiness now feels like home. Receive this final continuation with quiet assurance. Archangel Michael says nothing was wasted in this experience, every moment sharpened your awareness and deepened your self-respect. As you continue ahead, your path unfolds with grounded confidence, emotional clarity, and a calm strength that remains unshaken, guiding you toward connections that truly honor who you are. My beloved child, Stay gently aware as this message carries its last subtle refinement, because what you are absorbing now becomes intuitive knowing. Archangel Michael says you have reached a place where reflection replaces reaction, and silence no longer feels heavy but restorative. The need to analyze what went unsaid has dissolved, because your inner clarity speaks louder than unanswered moments ever did. Receive this softly, because this calm marks completion. Archangel Michael says you are no longer searching for emotional signals outside yourself. You recognize alignment through consistency, through how a connection supports your peace rather than tests it. This awareness protects you without walls and guides you without pressure. Remain steady in this state, because it is your new ground. Archangel Michael says you will notice how your energy now draws sincerity effortlessly. You are no longer drawn toward uncertainty disguised as depth. What is real will feel simple, honest, and emotionally available, and your heart will recognize it immediately. Allow this understanding to shape your steps naturally. Archangel Michael says you will act from clarity rather than impulse, and from self-respect rather than habit. Your presence will feel calm, your choices confident, and your boundaries unspoken yet firmly held. This is the quiet authority that comes from trusting yourself fully. Receive this continuation with peaceful certainty. Archangel Michael says the truth that was exposed has completed its work within you. You move forward lighter, grounded, and emotionally free, guided by inner clarity that remains steady, protective, and deeply aligned with who you are becoming. My beloved child, remain settled in this awareness as the message offers one more layer of quiet confirmation, because what you carry now is stability rather than uncertainty. Archangel Michael says your heart has recalibrated itself, no longer pulled by mixed signals or unspoken expectations. You are beginning to feel comfortable in stillness, and that comfort is evidence that your inner world has returned to balance. Let this be clear to you, because this clarity changes how you connect. Archangel Michael says you no longer feel the urge to explain yourself repeatedly or prove your sincerity. Your energy speaks before words are needed, and when something is not aligned, your spirit recognizes it without tension. This calm recognition is not detachment, it is maturity. Stay grounded in this shift, because it protects your emotional space. Archangel Michael says you are learning that not every close presence is meant to remain close forever. Some connections serve as turning points, not destinations, and understanding this allows you to release without regret. You are no longer holding on out of habit or hope alone. Allow this understanding to move with you naturally. Archangel Michael says you will notice how your standards feel clearer, not stricter. You are choosing peace over potential and consistency over confusion. This choice is not limiting you, it is aligning you with what feels real, steady, and emotionally honest. Receive this continuation with quiet confidence. Archangel Michael says your path ahead reflects the clarity you now carry within. Relationships will feel simpler, your decisions calmer, and your heart lighter. Trust this state, because you are no longer seeking truth outside yourself, you are living from it. My beloved child, stay gently rooted in this moment as the message offers deeper reassurance, because what you now feel is emotional clarity settling into your everyday awareness. Archangel Michael says you are no longer standing in between doubt and hope, you have moved into a space where understanding feels quiet and natural. The inner questions that once repeated themselves are fading, not because answers were given outwardly, but because your heart no longer needs to ask them. My beloved child, receive this calmly, because it confirms your emotional growth. Archangel Michael says you have learned that true connection does not require constant adjustment of self. You no longer bend your feelings to maintain closeness, and you no longer silence your intuition to preserve comfort. This shift has strengthened your inner foundation, allowing you to feel secure even when situations remain unchanged on the surface. My beloved child, remain aware of how your energy now responds differently. Archangel Michael says what once triggered overthinking now passes without attachment. You observe rather than absorb, and this observation gives you freedom. You are not distancing yourself from life, you are engaging with it from a place of balance rather than emotional urgency. My beloved child, let this understanding guide your interactions gently. Archangel Michael says you will notice how your presence feels more grounded and self-assured. You speak when it is true, you pause when it is wise, and you no longer feel responsible for managing the emotional state of others. This calm authority comes from self-trust that no longer wavers. My beloved child, receive this continuation with peace and steadiness. Archangel Michael says what has been revealed within you is now integrated, not temporary. As you move forward, your heart feels lighter, your choices clearer, and your path more aligned. You are no longer led by uncertainty, but by a quiet confidence that remains strong, centered, and unwavering. My beloved child, remain calm and receptive as this message offers further grounding, because what is unfolding now is emotional stability taking root. Archangel Michael says you are beginning to trust the quiet within you more than the noise around you. What once felt uncertain now feels neutral, and neutrality is a sign that your heart is no longer entangled in confusion. This is not distance, this is balance returning. My beloved child, receive this awareness with gentleness, because it reflects your inner alignment. Archangel Michael says you no longer feel pulled to seek reassurance or confirmation from this connection. Your sense of self has strengthened, and with that strength comes emotional independence. You are learning that peace does not come from answers, but from self-trust that no longer wavers. My beloved child, stay attentive to how your inner responses have changed. Archangel Michael says situations that once stirred emotional waves now pass through you lightly. You no longer personalize what is not yours to carry. This shift is subtle yet powerful, showing you that clarity does not shout, it settles. My beloved child, allow this clarity to guide your choices naturally. Archangel Michael says you are moving toward interactions that feel consistent, supportive, and emotionally open. You are no longer drawn to complexity that drains your spirit. Simplicity now feels nourishing, and steadiness feels reassuring rather than dull. My beloved child, receive this continuation with quiet confidence. Archangel Michael says what you have gained is lasting awareness, not a temporary insight. As you continue forward, your heart remains steady, your boundaries calm, and your path aligned. You are grounded in understanding, protected by clarity, and guided by a peaceful strength that stays with you.